Hey everybody, today I'm taking you on a tour of Panicle Hydrangeas. So I've got all 15 of the proven winners varieties, all 6 of the first editions Panicle Hydrangeas, plus I've thrown in 2 more just for good measure. So I'm going to start at the end of the driveway, work my way up. Fortunately, we have some rather large examples that I can show you. Now, they're not the same as what you'd find in the ground, but I think they give you a little bit of a sense of what these plants look like, how they grow, and what kind of flowers they have on them. So let's take a look down at the end of the driveway. Before I begin, I'll note there are 3 hydrangeas I'll be frequently referencing. The first is the Limelight hydrangea. This was the original landscape hydrangea to arrive in the United States with some of the most desirable landscape characteristics. The second is the vanilla strawberry. This was the first to blush to a much more intense pink color. The third is Quickfire. This was the first early blooming hydrangea. This series is known for its lace cap flower. However, there is a new version that does not have the lace cap. We'll start here with Pinky Winky. Not only does it have an unusual name, but it has a pretty unique flower type. So it has that nice cone shape or pointed kind of flower, but you'll notice that it's a little airier than the others, has a little bit more of a lacy finish to it, also gets a beautiful pink color, also a very large one. So both the flowers are big and the plant itself. And there is the new Pinky Winky Prime, which gets even bigger, has a little bit better habit than this one, although you can see the Pinky Winky is a winner no matter what, but the Pinky Winky Prime even bit better than that one. Now in this one here, you can see kind of a fallen branch. If you have that, I would recommend just trimming them back. You can do that anytime. Now I'm going to leave them here until fall, and then once they go dormant, I'll cut that off. But if we wanted to do that right now, that wouldn't be a problem. Otherwise, we save our pruning for later on in the season. Now over here, this is a little Quickfire, and you can see such beautiful color coming on this one, really nice pink, and then it's going to gradually change a little bit more to this darker mauve color. So little Quickfire here, and then this one over here is the regular Quickfire. So even with these young plants, we can see a difference between the dwarf and the regular. And there's also a tiny Quickfire, which is even smaller. It's one of the smallest ones out there, and it still has those same characteristics. I'll show you one of those a little bit later. Now for these, there's 2 different hydrangeas in this grouping. So we have 2 Bobos. So look at how much flower coverage the Bobo gets. This is what it's known for, just filling out with blooms, absolutely covered. And it's also a nice early bloomer. Meanwhile, the other one that we see in there is going to be the Little Lime. So this is a smaller version of the classic Limelight, a little bit more dwarf, but it has a similar flower, similar color change as well. Now this one here is the Quickfire Fab. Look at the size of the flower panicle on this, and it gets really good color. So nice intense pink. Now I do notice that some of these down at the bottom are getting a little bit of a parchment color a little bit early. That usually means that it's a watering issue. So I have a feeling maybe we need to up the water just a little bit at this time of year to make sure that we can get the maximum color. Because in Michigan, we usually can get really good color off our Panicle Hydrangeas. And this next one is a berry white. So this one is from First Editions. Look at the incredible color on this one. So you can count on this one to have a really nice, rich, hot pink color. It's from the makers of the vanilla strawberry. This is a bit of an improvement on that. It gets a little nicer color. And then over here, this is the Zinfin doll. Now this one is from Proven Winners. However, it has been discontinued. So you're not going to find this one anymore, but it has these beautiful, giant, puffy flower heads that turn a really gorgeous pink color. So this one has been one of my favorites, but now I think I rely more on the Quickfire Fab because it's pretty similar to it, but the Quickfire Fab is an earlier bloomer. Now this one over here is a Strawberry Sundae. So this is kind of the dwarf version of the vanilla strawberry. So it's a little lower, and I've noticed, at least in our grow bags, remember grow bags are different than growing them in the ground, that they tend to have a little wider stance. Now these are pointing down quite a bit. I think when I prune these, they're gonna bounce up a little bit. But again, I'm not gonna do that till fall. So this one, beautiful kind of fluffy blooms on there. And I noticed with the Strawberry Sundae, they tend to have a pretty tight blossom on there as well. So this one is a bit of a mystery. It's labeled from the grower as if it's a vanilla strawberry, but that's definitely not a vanilla strawberry. It looks a lot more like a Pinky Winky, or maybe it's something else, but it's definitely mislabeled. Meanwhile, this one here is called Little Hottie. So gets these nice flower panicles. It's a little more compact than some of the other varieties. And then this beautiful one over here is another berry white. And you can see this one's just starting to turn color, but look at the size of those blooms on there. And then we'll head over here, another berry white. See the dark color on this? really nice rich color, and this is the vanilla strawberry. And again, I'm noticing these brown leaves. That means I need to up the water on these. That'll keep these blossoms holding up a lot longer and looking a lot better for a longer period of time. Here's more little limes, more quickfire fabs. Just look at the blooms on these, looking so beautiful, and there's really a lot of them too, so I think that's the other advantage with these. Here we have some Limelight primes. So this is the new upgrade of the Limelight hydrangea, but they do bloom a little earlier than regular Limelights under normal conditions. So we're going to be looking forward to these filling out quite a bit. And then right here are the Firelight. So this is another Proven Winners variety, and I love the color on it because it gets this pink color that turns to a beautiful red. It's one of the more red turning hydrangeas out there, and has a nice habit, nice size, really a good one. And then we go over here, again, we have that quickfire with that lacy flower on it, gets that dark pink color, first one to kind of start turning pink color, first one to bloom. And then the flower on this one, this is the Diamond Rouge. And I want you to remember the Diamond Rouge because this is one that has enormous flower panicles, giant petals on it. It can be a little bit more lacy, and just an incredible one. The color on it is beautiful, and it's kind of similar as far as flower goes to the White Diamonds. The only thing with the White Diamonds is that White Diamonds doesn't get that intense color that we see off of the Diamond Rouge, and the Diamond Rouge is a little bit smaller as far as growth goes too. And over here, more Firelights. I mean, the Firelight is a big win if you're looking at these. And then the next one we have are those Bobos. I mean, these are basically bouquets of hydrangea flowers. It's absolutely stunning to see how many blooms you can get off of a Bobo. And then we have these here are going to be little Hotties. So again, another one from the first edition. So this one stays a little bit smaller. So here's some little limes in the background. You can see they're starting to blush. Little limes and Limelights don't get those intense pink colors that we see off of some of the other ones like this Diamond Rouge. Just look at the size of that. Let me put my hand in there so you just get a little perspective of just how big this panicle can get. I have had some of them get way bigger than my head. It's an absolutely huge flower. So really interesting one. This is one that not a lot of people know about. It's called the Love-A-Lot Pink, and it has these extremely sturdy stems. So, I mean, these are true branches and then very large flower panicles. So this one's just starting to open. So we've got a lot more growth that's going to happen. You can see just how big this one's getting. And again, these haven't even started opening. It gets a really nice baby pink kind of color on it as well. So really nice one. And these are the ones, they're rated for zone 5. But I grew them in these grow bags in this spot, and I did not have all this mulch around them, and they survived our winter just fine here. We're officially a 5A, but and this winter was a little bit mild, but I'm pretty confident to say these can handle zone 4 or lower probably. I'm not sure how they do in a zone 3, but I think they could do at least a 4A, if not better. And then over here, another one of the pufferfish. And the pufferfish is interesting because you get these really kind of wide blooms, and then they start to send up one more shoot of blooms. So these are going to take a little while, then we're going to have it kind of spit out new blooms in a little bit. And this one does not really blush. It might get a little bit of a pink color on it, but not a whole lot. So if you don't want the pink, the pufferfish is the way to go. And you can see it's kind of more of a robust, round type of hydrangea. These two are the classic Limelight. So these are doing pretty well. They're ahead of some of the other plants because a lot of times Limelights are really behind schedule with these, but these for some reason are kind of right on schedule. Here's another little lime. This one's a little bigger than the ones I saw farther down. I think this one has been in the grow bag an extra year, so it has a little extra growth on it. Another little quickfire here showing off its color. Another little lime, and another pinky winky. And now I'm going to head over to that little garden over there to show you some other ones. Now this one's just an itty bitty one. It's called Early Evolution, but it stays nice and small. And you can see it bloomed out nice this spring, got its color. So it gets a blush color, then it turns kind of this maroon color. So it's a nice tidy one. The flowers stay really close to the leaves. So it kind of creates a nice ball, and it stays very, very small. Now I will admit we have not been giving this one any supplemental water. So it might have a little better flowers had we given it a little more water, but it's still looking good even with that little bit of, I'm going to say, semi-drought conditions. So here are some more early evolutions, so you can see how those look. And then over here are some of the tiny quickfires. So this is the super tiny version of the quickfire. There's little quickfire, which is in between the two. You can see, at least in these nursery cans, they're going to be, the flowers are a little bit smaller than what we see on the regular quickfire, and it's very compact and very tight compared to what we're getting off of the regular quickfire over here. This is the smaller version of the Firelight. It's called the Firelight Tidbit. So this one gets that beautiful rich red color, but stays a lot smaller than the regular Firelight. And here we have the Pinky Winky Prime. So very similar flower panicles to the Pinky Winky. However, it does get a little bigger and tends to have maybe a little tidier habit, a little more compact. You see the branches will be closer together. And here are some Firelights that are a little farther along in their color. So when I tell you they get a really dark red or really dark mauve, purpley pink color, I was not lying. And then check out the size of this panicle on the pufferfish. Absolutely huge. I mean, these are gargantuan. And look at how nice that one's growing. Just a fantastic one, kind of like the Bobo. Actually, it's related to the Bobo, just those bigger flower panicles, bigger size plant. So here's a white diamonds. Look at the size of that flower on there. Huge blossoms on it as well. And this is only in a 2-gallon pot. So this is a very small plant with big giant flowers, and it only gets bigger. Some more Love-A-Lot pinks. Here's another Diamond Rouge just starting to turn color. So it does get that nice bright pink color, gets darker as it goes. I love the size of the flower panicles on that. This one is lesser known. It's called Moonrock, and it has these very tight flower petals and a little bit narrower panicle as well. And you can see how the new buds are still forming, so they are more of a lime color, and then it turns more white as they mature. It does get a little bit of a blush. I don't remember this one being as like pink as some of the other varieties, but it is a good looking hydrangea. It gets a nice size as well. If you're looking for a smaller hydrangea with great color, Little Lime Punch is the newer version of the Little Lime. It gets this great fruit punch color. This one's just starting to turn color, and it's a really wonderful one if you love that smaller size and that brighter color. And this is a good time for me to mention that when you get the dwarf varieties, be prepared for them to take just a little bit longer to establish. They're slower growing than like the standard size Panicle hydrangeas. So let's recap. The classic Limelight revolutionized the Panicle hydrangea market, but it didn't take long for more colorful varieties to come onto market, like the Vanilla Strawberry, which got a much more intense pink color, as well as Quickfire, which not only gets more intense color, but its lace cap flowers are also one of the first to bloom and to change color every season. By popular demand, more compact versions of each of these came to market. Limelight got Little Lime, Quickfire got Little Quickfire, as well as the even smaller Tiny Quickfire, and Vanilla Strawberry got Strawberry Sundae. And in the quest for even more color, we started seeing varieties like Berry White. And Limelight got an upgrade with Limelight Prime, which not only gets more color, but also blooms earlier. And Little Lime offers Little Lime Punch, which has an incredible pink color. And if we're talking about color, we have to mention the Firelight and its dwarf variety, the Firelight Tidbit. Another one that's been around for a long time is the Pinky Winky, which has very long, lacy flower panicles. And that one has an improvement that, instead of getting smaller, is actually larger, and that's the Pinky Winky Prime. And then there's White Diamonds, which has large, loose flower petals, which shares some characteristics with the Diamond Rouge, which offers incredible dark, rich red and mauve colors. Zinfin has large flower panicles and beautiful pink color. That one has been discontinued, but there are several others on the market that fit the bill, like the Quickfire Fab. This new member of the Quickfire family doesn't have a lace cap flower. It has a mop head that's more similar to the Limelight or the Vanilla Strawberry, but it blooms extremely early and has incredible color. There's also Love-A-Lot Pink with its large flowers and strong stems, and the Moonrock, which has very tight, long, narrow flower panicles. And as demand for more compact varieties increases, we've seen Pufferfish, Bobo, Little Hottie, and Early Evolution come on the scene. Thanks for joining me on this little tour of Panicle Hydrangeas. I know it's always helpful to have something to look at when you're researching plants. So hopefully by seeing some of these blooms and how they're structured and how they grow is going to help give you some ideas on what you want. Important thing for you to consider before you buy a hydrangea is how tall you want it to be, because nowadays you're not stuck with hydrangeas that are going to automatically get 6 to 8 feet tall. There's a lot of them that stay more in that 3-foot range, so you can still put them under a window. So keep that in mind when you're planting them out. Here in northern Michigan, we can put them in the full sun. That's where they perform the best. However, they're pretty good in part sun and even into part shade. If it gets a lot of indirect light, we still get good blooms on those. They are going to be a little smaller. The branches are going to be a little thinner in those lower light conditions though, and that does maybe potentially reduce its lifespan if it's not getting those perfect conditions, but you can put them in a little bit lower light conditions. But best place to put them is in full sun here in Michigan. I think in other parts of the country where it's hotter, you may want to go with a little bit of cover from afternoon sun as well. Do remember to keep them well watered, especially at this time of year when you want the color to come on, because if they're under any drought stress, they usually will go more from that white to a little bit pink and then right to brown. So if they're getting enough water, they tend to get better color. That said, don't overwater them. They don't like to sit with wet feet or anything like that. So don't keep them soggy. Just make sure that they're getting water on a regular basis, or that you're checking that soil to make sure that it's not completely dried out. Otherwise, the only other care I do is I will prune them a little bit, and I have videos on that. I do that when they're dormant, so either late fall, early spring, doesn't matter which time. Plant doesn't even know the difference. And then I also give them a layer of compost in the springtime, just because I know they like that extra nutrient or that amendment to that soil. And then I do give them a time release fertilizer first week in May, first week in June, and then if I think they need it, I might also do it first week in July or first week in August, but never after the first week in August do I give them any kind of fertilizer. They don't need it. They're starting to get ready for winter. We don't want to promote new growth at that time. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you're inspired to put some Panicle Hydrangeas in your yard, and I will see you guys all in the next video.